up, guys? Graylan Stewart here. Today I have a special guest. It's Burton with Propstream. A lot of you guys know that I do use Propstream on an everyday basis. We virtually wholesale nationwide, and mostly because of this software. We use this to pull all of our lists. We make every one of our offers all based on these cash transactions in the different areas. So we do comp all of our properties on that as well. And you can do seller list or buyer list. So a lot of those things can help you. And in full disclosure, it is an affiliate link, so it does help me out a little bit if you do sign up with our 7-day trial that he's going to offer you later. So just visit datagamechanger.com. But besides that, as you know, I don't recommend anything that I don't personally use myself. So Burton, take it away.
Hey, thanks for having me, Graylan. And guys, I really appreciate your time. I'm just here to show exactly what the product is. I don't sell. I hope the product can sell itself. So with that said, let me first show you an outline of what Propstream can do. I call it a two-stage system. The first stage of Propstream is lead generation. You might need leads. We can take care of that for you. And we actually broke it down into 3 sections. So phase 1 is just build your list. You can search in any market in the United States by county, city, a zip code, or up to 5 zip codes. Heck, you could even use our draw search feature if you want. You then can filter through our 19 categories or build your own lists, save your list, and we're going to give you 10,000 records every month if you're a subscriber. And then you can export that data, right? So you can export our deceased owners list, or auctions list, or pre-foreclosures list, or tax delinquency list, a cash buyers list. Once you have that exported, you'll get the address, owner's name, property characteristics to whatever list you searched and filtered for. Now, phase 2 is contact information. Directly within Propstream, you can skip trace. So we can get you a landline, a cell phone, and an email within 5 minutes or less. So you build a list of cash buyers, you then skip trace it, get their phone numbers, get their emails, and then you can export it after that. And so not only do you have your list of buyers, but now you have their phone numbers and emails. Or you can take it to phase 3, which we call marketing, AKA our campaign section. The campaign section gives you a website for your marketing list. So when you build a cash buyers list and you skip trace it and you get their phone numbers and emails, you can now create a website that says, hey, cash buyers, I'd like to work with you. Or, hey, cash buyers, I have a contract for you. Once you create that landing page, which has an application they can fill out, and you'll get an email if that happens. Once you create that landing page, you'll then be able to send postcards directly from Propstream, ringless voicemails, or email marketing within Propstream. And that's all just stage 1, lead generation. So again, different levels of investors that use Propstream. If you're just here for the data, you're phase 1. If you need data and contact information, phase 2. If you need to utilize Propstream for everything, data, contact information, and direct marketing, we got you covered. Now, stage 2 is property analyzing. When one of these properties ends up calling you back, right? Maybe you want to talk to the cash buyer about the properties they just bought recently. You can use Propstream to view the details of that property. Maybe one of these senior owners calls you back, or retired landlords calls you back. You can use Propstream to analyze that property. And stage 2, property analyzing, is really just 4 steps. You search the address, we'll populate the details for you, and then you're going to go through our details to find the opportunities, right? What we've done is put the property, financial, and situational data on one page. And that's what I call finding opportunities, because it could be the mortgage that's the reason they want to sell, or that they live in a different state, or the year of the building, or it's in an HOA, right? Or there's only one bathroom, right? That's what finding an opportunity is. And you're going to talk to them about these details, eventually extract that pain. Once the pain is found, you're then going to obviously make an offer. So feel free to use our system to run comps using public records or nationwide MLS records. And once you use those records to calculate your after repair value, you then can print our reports. Right? Now that you have the after repair value, you can calculate your 70%, 80% discount, whatever discount you're trying to get the property at, right? Everybody's different. You might even implement your creative seller financing strategy. You still need to know what the ARV is, right? And feel free to print reports. So this is what Propstream has to offer. Don't forget our mobile app. It comes with your subscription as well. But let me show you guys today 2 important things: building a list and stage 2, analyzing a lead. So with that said, here we are. We're in Propstream. Now you can search anywhere. I'm located in Southern California, but you can search anywhere in the United States of America. And here at the top is our search bar. So type in a county, a city, a zip code, or use our draw search feature on the map. So for today, let's search maybe Richmond, Virginia. Now, I'm Southern California, but I can go to Richmond, Virginia if I want to do virtual wholesaling in that market. And so when I search Richmond, Virginia, what Propstream is going to do for you is show you the 99,000 records we've collected on your behalf in that market. So without you traveling from California to Richmond to collect data or hiring someone to go get that data for you and putting it all together, we're pretty much doing that for you. We're saying, hey, you just searched the city. Here are 99,000 records that you can go through if you want. If you want to manually go through each record, don't let us stop you. There's 50 per page. You're on page 1 of 1991. If you want to go to the next page or the last page, have at it. If you want to go to page 500, type that in, hit enter, there you are. Now here's what we're going to do to help you out. We're going to take these records and categorize them for you. So our first 8 categories are here, but here's what I normally encourage you to do. Straight into our filter. Because these 8 categories that you see are also in our filter under quick list choices, but we also have 11 other categories here. So let me go through each and every one of them. The first one is MLS. You can go through our MLS records. These are all the properties that are listed on the market. You can go through our vacant properties, properties not answering mail. Liens, properties that have a tax lien, a utility lien, an HOA lien, they didn't pay their child support, abstract of judgment, maybe a pre-foreclosure, maybe a pre-foreclosure with an auction date, maybe a foreclosure, bank-owned property. Maybe you need a cash buyer. So here are the non-owner occupied cash transactions. Maybe you need a high equity property, 50% or $100,000 or more in equity. Maybe you want something free and clear. There are no mortgages on that property. Perhaps a bankruptcy. One of our newest, divorce. So it may not be available in some markets like Richmond, but feel free to check other markets. There might be one in maybe Chicago. So when you choose divorce in Chicago, you can see we have 10 results there. So just be wary that these records may not apply to every city, every state. But when we go back to Richmond, Virginia, as you can see, we don't have any divorces, but do we have any tax delinquencies? Yes, we do. What about flippers? People that bought a property and they've now put it back on market in less than 2 years. So this is a great way to find not just a cash buyer, but someone who's actually flipping, buying, and then they're calling their agent, putting it on market. We have failed listings, properties that were on market, but they didn't sell. Someone changed their mind, it expired, or got withdrawn for some other reason. Senior owner, someone who has 25 years of ownership, senior citizen tax exemption, or a reverse mortgage. We have vacant land, which is just vacant land. There's no buildings, characteristics, just a plot of land for you. We have tired landlords. These are non-owner occupied properties with 15 years minimum years of ownership or more. We have zombie properties. These are pre-foreclosures and vacant properties at the same time. And our new pre-probate deceased owners. So this is a property that has a deceased owner on title that has not yet gone through the probate process. So there's a difference, right? Probate usually means that someone is looking to put their name on title, either because they want to sell or maybe perhaps refinance or do something in which their name needs to be on title. So probate needs to be processed. Pre-probate means maybe the first owner has passed away, the kids, the spouse probably doesn't need to do anything with the property at the moment, so they haven't decided to do the probate yet. That's what pre-probate is, okay? One of our most sensitive lists, I mean, in general, every one of these lists are sensitive, but I would say this one is just extremely more sensitive. So don't market to the deceased owner. Don't even mention that. I would probably just mention what you do and just call it a day. But the idea with Propstream is you can search a city, a county, a zip code. Once you're in that market, you can go into our filter, choose any of these categories, perhaps the tax delinquent properties, then you can close it. And now you can save your 864 records that you have. Now, again, you get 10,000 records every month. Now, I don't recommend just doing that. I do recommend actually adding more to your list, refining it essentially. So we do have additional filters on the left-hand side of our filter. So things like, do you want it to be owned or owner occupied or perhaps absentee owned? tax delinquent properties? Do you want someone actually in the house answering the mail, or do you want the vacant ones where there's no tenants, nobody's there? So not only is there a tax delinquency, but the owner's not there and there's no one answering their mail, meaning there's no tenants, no relatives living at that property, right? Or perhaps you do want to deal with the tenant, or you prefer the ones that are occupying the property rather than an absentee owner. You don't want to deal with rental properties, essentially. We have property characteristics. So do you want a tax delinquent residential property, perhaps a commercial building? We have office space. Now, as you can see with tax delinquency, we may not have commercial buildings for tax delinquencies in this market, but try out another category, maybe high equity commercial buildings. And there you go, parking lot, retail store, parking garage. What about an office space? There you go, professional building right there, legal, insurance, real estate. So as you can see, we have different categories that you can apply, but it may not apply to every single classification is ultimately what I'm saying. I know most of us are in the residential space, but I do want to show you guys that we do have other categories that you can play with as you evolve in your career of real estate. Now, once you choose the classification, feel free to choose the type of property too. Is it a single family, a condominium? Could it be an apartment? Maybe a mobile home that you're looking for? So let us know your property classification and type along with their characteristics. Maybe you want 4 bedrooms or less. Maybe you want a certain year built. Maybe you want it not in an HOA. So feel free to have fun with our filters there. After you're done with characteristics, you'll then have the MLS filters. So you can look for on-market properties, things listed with an agent, or in this case, off-market properties. But feel free to have fun with it too. Like off-market properties, maybe because they failed recently on the market. So here are 2 owners that didn't pay their taxes. They tried to sell with an agent and didn't sell. Maybe you're the only option now, right? Or maybe an active property. I know you're like, ugh, I wouldn't want to deal with an active property, but maybe one that's active and been active for more than 30 days, right? Maybe more than 90 days. See if this one's been out there for 90 days. Oh, not yet. So, but you can potentially find something that's been on market for several days, potentially telling you that it may end up failing. So in this area, I know most of us would say on market no, but feel free to think outside of the box. Once you're done with that, you got your pre-foreclosure information. So you can stack defaults, auctions to your record. So how many of my properties didn't pay their taxes and now are in a default or up for an auction? And as you can see, we don't have any of those results. So as you can see, you can stack, but don't stack too much because you won't get any records. So thankfully, these 255 are not in that level of severity yet. So what that means is we can potentially save them from going into a default or an auction, ultimately being owned by the bank, right? So this is an area where you can stack that information. Perhaps you're looking for a high equity property that unfortunately is now in a default or in an auction. So these are the things that you can do with these filters. As for our tax delinquency search, there wasn't a tax delinquent pre-foreclosure as you saw, okay? But feel free to use our reporting dates and other filters for pre-foreclosure. You'll then have ownership information, like how many years this person has owned the property, maybe for 5 years or more, and then they are not paying their taxes all of a sudden. I also want to make sure it's owned by an individual, not a corporate office, because I don't want to talk to a secretary or a voice machine, right? I want to talk to a person. Last sell date, last sell price, even how many other properties they could have owned, right? So I want to speak to an individual who has maybe 2 or 4 properties and they didn't pay their taxes recently. So here are those properties. They're in a delinquency, they have multiple properties. That could be a domino effect. They might need to just sell more than one property at that point, right? And this could be powerful. Maybe it's a senior owner who owns 5 properties or more, right? Because what if they don't have kids? What if they don't have a retirement plan? What if they don't have a plan B, right? Maybe they do need to now start considering liquidating their properties so they can enjoy what's left, right? And kind of take it from there. So think outside of the box with these filters, but this is your ownership info, numbers of properties, the taxes they pay, their location, whether the person passed away. So did any of my delinquency properties have a deceased on the title of the property, right? So did owner 1 or 2 pass away, or did both of them pass away? So you can stack these records. Or if you're not familiar with that, or you don't want us to deal with that, you can exclude those records from your results or keep them there if you don't care. You can see what's been transferred, unknown sell dates. And to wrap it up with our filters, we have the lien, bankruptcy, divorce filters. So feel free to add more to it. Did any of these delinquencies file a bankruptcy recently? Maybe they're in a divorce. Maybe they have a lien. Feel free to specify the lien. Maybe stay away from these categories. Those bankruptcies we just saw? Get rid of them. I don't want to deal with bankruptcies. I don't know how to deal with an attorney that's going to be on my case, or a bankruptcy attorney, or I don't know the rigmarole or the legal terms that they use. So you can stay away from that if you'd like. Now, for those that do target this category, we have recording dates for you, lien amounts, delinquency years, and then finally, valuation and equity. What estimated value you're looking for? Maybe everything under $400,000, or a certain rental income, gross yield, growth percentage over a certain time maybe. And then most importantly, what's the equity you're looking for by dollar or percentage? So in this case, yeah, we want people not paying their taxes, but they got to have that 30% minimum or more, because we're looking to wholesale these properties. No equity, no assignment fee, right? Loan to value ratio, assess total value, assess improvement value, land value. You can even see properties that have unknown equities that we can't even calculate because they've been on our records for such a long time. And finally, because we collect financial information, you can even look for mortgage information. So not only are they not paying their taxes and now they might be on a payment plan, but they have a mortgage that they also have to pay. So that's another layer of motivation. You got a mortgage, you got this tax that you got to pay back. Maybe that's the boiling point. Let's talk. Maybe 2 mortgages is the boiling point. How many people are not paying their taxes and they also have 2 mortgages on the property? Extremely high level of motivation, right? So you can specify the numbers of mortgages up to 4, the open mortgage amount, loan to value ratio by percentage or dollar value. You can see if any of these properties were once bought in cash, if any of them don't have a mortgage, or if any of them have a seller carryback note. So this is how you filter in Propstream. You start with the city, go into our filter, choose a list. This is what I call the traditional method, where you start with the list, and then you just refine it using our additional filters on the left-hand side. And once you're done refining it, you hit close, and now you have your results. So here you can check off your 71 remaining properties, hit add to list. That's how you save a marketing list. And you hit create new. Richmond, tax delinquent, save. What we just did is search, filter, save our tax delinquent list. Now we can export it or skip trace it or market to it if we need to. Now, it's not just for sellers. Heck, we can go back into Richmond and now find buyers for those properties, right? Since we built the tax delinquency list, what if someone calls me back? I'm gonna need a buyer for that. So let me look for cash buyers now. So in Richmond, cash buyers, and guess what? If I'm marketing to single family properties that are 4-bedroom or less, because these are my tax delinquent properties, then I need to find a cash buyer that's buying residential single family properties that are 4 bedrooms or less, right? It's like a dating game almost, kind of funny. But then not only that, you can specify the type of buyer in the ownership info. I want to talk to an individual buyer. I want to build these nice long relationships with people with a lot of cash, kind of shadow them. Maybe they can become my mentor one of these days, right? So I'm looking for a cash buyer who's an individual. And they bought this property maybe in the last 6 months. So we'll start from November 1st till today. And hey, you know what? To make matters even cooler, they own multiple properties like I was showing you earlier. Maybe they have like 6 properties or more under their name. So here are my 30 cash buyers buying single family properties that are 4 bedrooms or less, just like my properties I have on the tax delinquency list. And these are buyers that have bought a property in the last 6 months and they have 6 properties or more. And so now I can hit close. There are my 30 unique cash buyers with multiple properties, especially the ones that bought in the last 6 months. So they're active and they have multiple properties. So they buy and hold, they might even just fix and flip as well. So we're gonna check those off and hit add to list. And now we'll create a new list, Richmond buyers with 6 properties or more, and hit save. And the final and last thing that you can do with Propstream is what I call Burton's 4 golden rules. Burton's 4 golden rules are this. A lead is not a list. A lead is just a situation a homeowner's going in. And here are my 4 rules. Rule number 1, on or off market. You're usually going to end up determining whether you want to deal with a property that's listed, like these 1,100 properties, or the off market ones, like these 98,000 properties. That's rule number 1. Make that decision. Rule number 2 is your equity information, high, low, or negative. Depending on what your strategy is or what you know as an investor will dictate the type of equity you're going to need. If you only know wholesaling and fixing and flipping, then you're probably going to want a high amount of equity as possible so you can get that assignment fee, or if you are fixing and flipping, get the best return possible. So we'll do, like, let's say 45% or more. That's rule number 2, your equity. You want low equity? Maybe you want 10% or less. This is for our creative seller financing strategy group, right? So feel free to choose high, low, or negative if you'd like. And that's rule number 2. So rule number 1, offer on market, make your decision. Rule number 2, high, low, or negative, make your decision there. Rule number 3 is your property and ownership preferences, right? Because we have so many properties classifications that you can deal with. Is it a commercial building you're looking for? Is it an office space? Or is it a residential property that's maybe a mobile home that you're looking for? Or maybe it's single family. So let us know what property preferences are you looking for. Maybe you want 3 bedrooms or less, right? Maybe you want properties built in 1990 or before. So you got to let us know what property preferences you want. And second, to rule number 3, is the ownership info. Do you want to talk to a person, a secretary? Let us know the type of individual you're looking for. Maybe a person that's owned this property for 10 years. And finally, rule number 4 is the motivation. Now, typically, we want to lean on a list. We want to say, okay, well, that motivation is a failed listing, or it's a senior owner, or it's a pre-foreclosure. Heck, you don't even have to choose a list, because motivation was never a list. Motivation was a situation, right? So here's to give you an example. Maybe that situation is an individual owner who's owned this property for many years, 10 years, but they live out of state or out of county. With the pandemic, that could be a headache now, right? And they have maybe 1 or 2 mortgages on that property. So, I mean, you can look for all the liens, you can look for all the vacant properties, or you can do this. Just look for the off-market properties with equity that are single family, the ones that you want, that have that individual ownership, the one that you want. And the issue is that, hey, you're in a different state and you have multiple mortgages. You know, do you need any help? You know, is it under control? Perhaps. If it's not, I'm willing to buy your property because you have 45% in equity or more. You're exactly what I'm looking for. And this is what I call Burton's 4 golden rules, where you're not choosing a list, you're just implementing those 4 strategies: on or off market, high, low, or negative equity, your property and ownership preferences, and then 4th, what's the motivation? It could be multiple mortgages, it could be their location. Heck, it could be the property was built in 1950 and it's in an HOA environment. That HOA is going to get on their case about this old property if they don't keep upkeeping it and keeping it up to standards, right? These are what I call the hidden lists. It's never been about a list. It's always been about finding and positioning the data to find these homeowners in a situation that has a high propensity of wanting to sell to you, okay? And so we'll take these 11 properties and we'll call it the Richmond hidden list. So these are the things that you can do with Propstream. And remember, we can skip trace it. So here on the left-hand side, after we save those Richmond properties, the buyers with 6 properties, the hidden list or the delinquent properties, we can skip trace them. We can run a campaign where we send postcards, voicemails, emails to them. And you even get a website that says, hey, I buy multiple mortgages, or whatever that website is, whatever their situation is. You can craft this website to talk to their situation. Now, what happens if someone calls you back? Well, you've done phase 1, 2, and 3. If someone calls you back, that's stage 2. Here's what you got to do. You just go to the search bar and you click on that address. Now, if you don't have the address on the right side, ask them for the address. Let's say you had to log out and then you log back in. You're on the phone with the homeowner. Hi, yeah, I got your voicemail. Great. I'm interested in buying your property. May I have your address? Sure thing. Type their address in the search bar. And when you search the address, we're not building a list anymore. We're helping you by giving you all of the information around that property. The subject property on the right side, the neighbors, the MLS, the pre-foreclosures around that property, the foreclosure. So you can talk with confidence about what's happening in that environment. You can talk about the statistics. Like right now, it's saying that rental changes are the best things right now happening in the last 30 days. So probably want to use this property as a buy and hold property. Maybe you want to look for a buyer that is a buy and hold buyer, right? But here's what you really want to do. Go into the details like I mentioned. Remember, stage 2 is searching the address. We really got to find the opportunities. So when I'm talking to Michael, Nito Michael and Philip Ramirez about this property, again, I'm in California. I've never been here, but I'm now going to be able to talk with confidence. I know they have a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath. I know it's 70 years old. I know they lived in this house for 19 years. I know they're not occupying it, but they sure are renting it out to somebody. I see that they have a mortgage. Heck, I can even tell them how their mortgage company is treating them if I want to in the mortgage area. So I'm able to talk to them with this confidence, right? Hey, how's that HOA treating you? Oh, they're treating us like crap. Well, maybe you should consider selling and moving into an environment where there isn't any HOA, right? So that's finding the opportunity. You're talking with that utmost confidence. You're an investor, so you should know this information. And this is what a lot of these homeowners are going to project in their mind, right? So now that I'm talking to Michael and Philip about maybe 19 years of living in this community is why they want to sell. Maybe they want to get rid of the mortgage. That's the reason to sell. Maybe the property's falling apart and that's the reason to sell. Or maybe because their tenant is not paying rent anymore and that's the reason to sell. Could be the HOA, right? So these are things that you need to ask questions. And when you feel the opportunity to submit an offer or project an offer is right, then you go into comparables and nearby listings. And here we'll give you access to public records, MLS records, or both. You can use both of them side by side. You have date ranges, bedrooms and bathrooms, year built, square footage to narrow down, finding properties that are similar to yours. So if this property is a 2.5 bath, then I'm going to look for 2 and 1.5 baths. Property was built in 1950, then I want to look for properties 1940 to maybe 1957, whatever it may be. Square footage, you can tighten that down a little bit. Since you're using both public and MLS records, what type of MLS records? Well, we want sold and maybe pending statuses, or just sold. Public record sale. Since you're using public records, do you want to see cash transactions, properties being bought by a mortgage? Yeah, mortgage transactions are usually what we want. Do you want to see someone buying multiple properties or stay away from that? And that's multi-parcel sale. Is a half mile not enough? Maybe you need to go out a mile, so feel free to extend your search. And then finally, apples to apples. Right? When you're running comps, make sure you're running comps on the right properties. In this case, residential, single-family properties. And finally, after filtering, here on the right-hand side, you'll see your results. You'll see beds, bathrooms, square footage, lot size. So make sure you're going down these records. Now, what happens if you don't want to see the 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms? Just go into the bedroom area and you can cap it out. You can say, you know what, just 2 bedrooms, 2 minimum, 2 max, and we'll show you whatever is available in that market. And if there's nothing, you might need to extend your mileage, or you might even need to go back maybe 1.5 years. So feel free to extend. We know every market is different, so you're going to need to adjust these filters. Once you're done, whether you're using MLS records or both records, preferably MLS records are coolest of the bunch, but we'll leave that up to you. You're going to be able to see your results, but please look at the photos. They're going to tell you whether that property has been rehabbed or not. Why is that important? Because remember, you're looking for an after repaired value. And the pictures are telling you this property has been repaired. And because of this condition, that's what that property sold for, $270. What does a 221 property look like? Well, let's take a look at the pictures, right? So now I'm able to use these comps right here to project a value. Again, make sure you're looking at the characteristics, lot size, and all that good stuff. Once you're confident in the 4 or 5 or however many comps you're interested in, all you need to do is just go to Actions and View Comps Report. And what we'll finally do is give you step 4, which is printing your report. So what our system will do is, based on the comps you selected, whether it's public records, MLS, or both of them, we're going to take the ones that are checked off and put it on an MLS report. Why? Because you're probably going to end up visiting that property. We want to make sure you have something with you. You might want to print more than one copy so you can provide them to the homeowner. Here's what the MLS Comp looks like. It shows them the subject property with its characteristics. So there's no question asked when you're talking to Philip and Michael. We're going to show them their listing history and their property history. Then we're going to show them the search criteria. We're going to say, we use MLS data within a 2-mile radius. Here are the characteristics that are similar to your property. Here's what we found. Properties were selling as low as 190, as high as 310. The average was 247, right? And that's where they're at, right around your property. Matter of fact, here's just a little bit more information about those properties. Square footage, price per square footage, all that good stuff. And finally, because they always want that full price, well, I want that $310,000 price, even though their house is falling apart or they don't have a roof. At the very bottom, you're going to be able to show them a picture of each one of those comps. You can say, oh, okay, sure, 300,000 sounds great. Let's take a look at what that property looks like. And so you'll be able to show them number 3, and they can see the characteristics. And on the last page, we'll even include the photos of the interior and exterior property. So if they really are trying to be stubborn with you, I want that 310. I'll give you the 310, but this is what a 310 looks like. So if I give you 310 and the house doesn't look like this, I'm taking a loss. Simple as that, right? So this is Propstream for you guys. It is a 2-part system. Lead generation, property analyzing. Again, lead generation, build a list, sellers or buyers or that hidden list. Again, my 4 rules are on, off market, equity, property and ownership information, and then the homeowner situation. You can skip trace and then market, and then you can analyze properties once they start calling you back. But that's pretty much it. We still have a lot more to offer, so make sure to go into our help section to learn more about our additional features, like the mobile app, the list automator feature. But do note, you do get a 7-day trial period. So just make sure to click on Graylan's link down below. It's called datagamechanger.com. We're going to give you guys a 7-day trial period and a discounted price. It's actually $97 a month with his link, and it's only a month-to-month subscription. So none of that yearly contract or anything. But thank you so much, Graylan. I'm going to give it back to you. I really appreciate you giving me the time to share all this, and I hope I was able to enlighten somebody or everybody on how to utilize Propstream.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. That was really awesome. And by the way, we do pull most of our lists from Propstream because it virtually has every list you could ever want. So that's the main thing. All of our marketing comes basically from your list. So that's really cool. And then my acquisition managers all day, every day are logged into Propstream analyzing properties because they're looking at everything that comes into our queue is always ran through Propstream just to kind of see what's going on. You know, it shows you their equity and all those different things. And again, like cash buyers around the area and, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's definitely a powerful tool for 97 bucks. I mean, it's a no brainer. I mean, it's probably one of the main things that I would never do without, to be honest. So anyways, thanks, Burton. I appreciate it. It was great information. Hopefully y'all got some value out of it. Please click on the link. I mean, because it will, that's exactly why I called it that, data game changer, because that's exactly what it is. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you guys later.